Kirko Green in the house with me tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you hit that like, that thumbs up, and of course, if you have not, subscribe to my channel and subscribe to his channel as well. Much,
Yes.
much appreciated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. So we got Vikings, 49ers, 49ers, Vikings. There's going to be a lot that we do discuss and go over. But before we do, I got to talk about these Eagle fans. I got to get this out the way. It's been weighing on me. It's been weighing on me all night. So for those who know, I did predict for the Eagles to lose and take that L. I thought the Dolphins would come out stronger than what they did, and unfortunately, they don't have a defense. They didn't play up to what the level I thought they would. So obviously, you guys seen what happened. We seen it here, and it was really unfortunate. But you Eagles fans, let me pull up this chat here because I got to see what you guys are talking about. You Eagles fans, we went crazy on Facebook. Like I said, I had a prediction that the Jets would win, and I had a prediction that the Dolphins would win. Obviously, I was 50-50 there. But I've been giving the Eagles the first 5 games. JG, you probably remember that. Everyone else in the chat remembers that. I gave the Eagles the first 5 games on each prediction video. So, for these
Mhm.
Eagles fans to come out the woodwork and just talk all this garbage, I now have Eagles on watch alert. I have Eagles on watch alert. I inadvertently have an issue with the Eagles now. You guys started it. I try to be non-biased. I'm probably non-biased for every other team, but when it comes to these Eagles now, I just got to be that guy. I got to be that guy. Y'all put me there, and there it is. There it is.
Jay, you have to expect garbage from garbage people. All right. And that's what the Eagles fan base is. I still don't believe in them. I didn't believe in the Dolphins because everybody's still riding that 70-point game high.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that wasn't real. That's not sustainable. That was just kind of a flash in the pan. Not that they're going to fall off and not score any points, but 70, that's extremely rare in the NFL because of the level of competition.
mm,
Shout out to you,
mm,
shitmate. But I still don't believe in the Eagles.
yeah,
Are they a good team? Are they a talented team? Yeah, but their level of competition hasn't been that good either. And the Dolphins, you know, we'll see. We'll see how. I think that Tua Hill connection, will definitely return. But when Hill is running on all cylinders, Tua, Waddle, Moster, and that defense can show up. The defense can't show up. It didn't yesterday.
yeah,
But when they're running on all cylinders, yeah, man, they're a formidable team. But
yeah.
them
Well,
damn
and
Eagles.
and that was the biggest thing that we seen missing yesterday was obviously the defense. We knew the defense was depleted. Howard was out, Holland was out as well, and that plays a big part as far as what Miami is able to do, especially when stopping the run game, stopping the pass game from the Eagles. But the biggest thing that I seen and that I had an issue with was the fact that the Dolphins completely abandoned their pass game. They kept trying to run. They kept trying to run, and I'm sitting there like, why are they running? Throw the ball. That's your game. You don't run, you throw. That's why you guys have racked up the amount of yards you have on the passing. And Tyreek Hill has basically his MVP candidacy based on the amount of yards he's racked up. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm sitting there, they keep running, they keep running. Then they switch it up a little bit and go with the pass, go with, the slant, the short pass, and Tyreek Hill is just ridiculous with the speed. So yeah, you can pretty much dump him the ball off wherever he is, and he's going to get you an additional 8 to 10 yards just like that. But yeah, I do give credit just because I'm not an ass. I'm going to give credit where it's due. They did win the game. They did play hard to get it. I did
Yeah.
see a couple plays from Hurts where he looked kind of like Mahomes. I did say he had that Mahomes magic. It just came out of nowhere. Stuff that I hadn't seen Hurts really doing much. He was doing yesterday, and it was different. AJ Brown, he's immaculate. He's an excellent receiver. I definitely enjoyed watching him. And the defense definitely did just enough. But I did bring up the fact that the Bills had definitely softened up Miami for the Eagles. People act like they were just playing a prime Dolphins. If the Dolphins were at 100%, I could definitely see that game going in a direction. But
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. I mean, they're that 70-point game, yeah, was against the Broncos, but
Yeah.
they still have the potential to be a high scoring offense. And you're right, man. I don't know why they didn't lean on Tyreek Hill. look, if you're going to get a win, I don't care if it's your star player every play of the game. That's your best chance to win. So why they didn't go to more who they were trying to prove something to by trying to stick to the run, I don't understand that. Because Raheem Mostert is not this, A-list number one running back. He's smaller in size. He's very fast. But what's the guy's A-Chan, the other guy?
A-Chain.
A-Chain. Yeah. So, really Mostert's all they had, and that's just not his thing. And whatever, it doesn't matter. People can say what they want. They'll be saying it with the dub. But they didn't. They decided to do something different, and here they are in the L category, and then damn Eagles get another win under their belt. Yeah, Bob, you better go. You better go. Typical. You get in here, you take your little shots, and then you run behind mommy's skirt. Go ahead, get out of here. I'm still gonna blaze the Vikings. So it's okay.
All right, here we go. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. You guys always giving either Jay or JG a hard time, but it's all love. It's all love. All right, so we obviously have the 49ers and the Vikings pregame. Let's go ahead and get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Pulling up the stats. Obviously, we have the 49ers and the Vikings. 49ers 5-1. Minnesota Vikings are 2-4. They're actually 0-3 at home, which is crazy. And 49ers are 2-1 away. So I think this is going to be interesting. San Francisco is favored by 7 points. It's a solid 7, right? But let's go ahead and get into the stats. Matchup predictor 70.1% for the 49ers, 29.7% for the Vikings. As far as the season leaders on the passing side, you got Purdy with 1,396 yards, 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. On the flip side, you got Cousins, 1,679 yards, 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So he's been balling, right? Can we say that the losses are completely on Cousins? I don't think so, because he's been very productive. Christian McCaffrey, obviously he was injured, but he is expected to play tonight. Deebo Samuel, he is going to be out. But McCaffrey's got 553 yards, 7 touchdowns. Madison with 320 yards on the rushing side. Jefferson coming in hot with 571 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then Ayuk with 454 yards and 2 touchdowns. Getting over to the injury report, obviously, like I said, you got Deebo Samuel, who is out. Trent Williams is doubtful. Drake Greenlaw is questionable. And Christian McCaffrey is questionable as well. But like I said, he should be in tonight. For the Vikings, you got Ezra Cleveland out. Jalen Naylor is on IR. And then Caleb Evans is questionable as well. Now, getting into the team stats. Obviously, we see the total yards, 381.2 versus the 354.8 for the Vikings. On the passing yards allowed, right, we got 215 for the 49ers, 241 for the Vikings. I mean, we'll start there, Jericho. How do you feel about the passing yards allowed for the Vikings versus the 49ers?
I mean, obviously, it's not that big of a deal, but for a long time, the Niners secondary has been the weak link, I guess you could say, in their defense. Mm-hmm. We've for decades, had a real stout defensive line, linebackers. I mean, come on, Bowman, Willis. Now we got Warner and Greenlaw. And Greenlaw, he's questionable. I hope he plays, because we suffer a little bit in the running game when he's not in there. But it's not that big of a difference. I think they're pretty evenly matched, but it depends on who's going to show up on the offensive side of the ball. If we got the Brock Purdy last week, it's a wrap. But we don't know which Kirk Cousins we're going to get. We're going to get this Kirk Cousins, like you said, that's doing well against better competition, or are we going to get the Barney Fife, I'm scared to go in there, Kirk Cousins. So it depends on who shows up. But one thing we know for sure, that D-line and those linebackers are going to be ferocious for the Niners.
Oh, yeah. No, without a doubt. I think here's what's really important to realize, and you brought it up that we talked about it earlier. Kirk Cousins is playing exceptionally well, basically against, he basically matches the other team as far as if they're a bad team, he plays bad. If they're an up team, he plays up to them. And what's really wild is as we get into this, let me pull up the stats here. You guys will see exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, if we get into the last 5, right, here we go. With the Bears, he had 181 yards. He was 21 of 31. Then we get into KC. He's 29 to 47 for 284, and obviously that was a 7 point loss. One score game, just like the Bears game. Then getting into the Panthers game, he was 12 of 19 for 139.
Mm.
Completion percentage was 63.2. His average was 7.3. He had two interceptions. But then getting into the Chargers, he's 28-24 there, one score game. He was 32 of 50 for 367 yards. And then with Philly, right, they won 34-28. He was 31 of 44 for 364 yards. So if you look at the pattern, right, it's like, all right, he knows he's playing a quote unquote terrible team. And then he goes on to play great against KC, Chargers, and Philly. So when you look at that, as far as if I'm a betting man, which I mean, I don't really bet anymore, but I would say obviously he's going to play up to the 49ers tonight, which I could see that, being at home, utilizing Jefferson a little bit more. And basically, we're working on that completion percentage that he, should be able to utilize going into this game, even though he's coming off of a close win against the Bears. I think he should do good tonight.
Well, those three games that he played, that he has his best numbers in, those are all L's, by
Yeah.
the way. And he did just squeak by the Chicago Bears, which
Yeah.
is nothing you want to brag about if you're a football team. And Nancy Adler in the chat, when I say that Eagles fans are garbage people, I don't know you as a person. You're probably a great person, but this is football season. So within September and February, yeah, you guys are garbage people. It's football. Come on, it's football season. Let's go.
It's football
We know
season,
what's
ladies
up.
and gentlemen. What's funny is we actually had this conversation, and I'll bring this up. We actually had this conversation. I think it was two streams ago, as far as the amount of women who are now tuning into the NFL, and I think like the overall statistics was right around like 38% in the league. Like that's how much women have taken over as far as like watching sports and things like that, specifically for the NFL. And then even on the channel, I went through the analytics and all that kind of stuff, and out of 58,000 subscribers, we have 33% that are women. So, I could definitely see how you know, the women may not like the bravado as much, but I have seen some women out there fighting in the stands and at some stadiums and
Yeah,
yelling at
on it.
other people and calling them trash. So, I think at some point, we got to have a little bit of thick skin and,
Yeah,
realize that, it's football and it's going to be, hard discussions, hard conversations, and all that fun stuff.
yeah.
But
It's stay classy, San Diego. Don't be fighting. Come on, what are you doing? You're fighting in the
uh
stands. And ladies, yeah, welcome in.
Brendan says, "Let's go 49ers all the way." Joe, who you rooting for? So, I mean, I'm definitely listen. I'm definitely gonna be impartial, right, tonight because I really feel, and just by me, you guys know I'm a stats man. I love looking at the stats. I love going through the analytics before making my assessments and who I'm going to choose. But here's the thing. I mean, you do have a banged up 49ers, right? You do have a banged up 49ers. But obviously, if we get into Brock Purdy and what he's been doing, I mean, he's been nothing short of stellar, right? 1,396 yards, 10 touchdowns, one interception. Still number one with the QBR of 77.6, even after that loss. So I'm definitely not going to write off Brock Purdy. I know there was some people saying, oh, he shouldn't be MVP now and all this other stuff, but it doesn't make sense. He lost one game. I mean, it didn't show that he's not who we thought we was. It shows that the man's human, right? That he's going to go out there and potentially take a loss. But even then, I don't put that loss on him because he did what he was supposed to do. He led his team down the field to get the win, and the kicker sold on him. So,
Sure,
we
sure did.
can't really consider the loss on him. He did his job. He went out there. He made it happen. And unfortunately, with the injuries, the 49ers just couldn't get the win. But what I will say is this: I do think with Debo being out, I do think with McCaffrey being beat up, I do think that it's a lot closer than what we may think. And we'll see what the defense got tonight with Phillips, Bullard, Hunter, Hicks. These guys are definitely great. They've been playing playing a while, and the Vikings. This could be that win that definitely gets them back back on the board, and gain some momentum. I would say. Now, is it going to be easy? Hell no, without a doubt. But what I will say is this: I'm going to call it a close game. Vikings being at home, and I think at the end of the day, it's been an upset week, right? We didn't think the Giants were going to win. We didn't think the Patriots were going to win. So, you know, this could be Monday night. Everyone's sitting there with their hands in their face like Home Alone. And yeah, know, so, I think 49ers going to take it. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good game as well. So there you go.
Well, if the defense continues the kind of play that it has, especially last week, even with a decline in performance, being that Christian McCaffrey, if even if he's in there, he's coming off an injury. Debo's not going to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Niners 13, Vikings 36. So the defense and the offense are going to fall apart. I don't think so. But playing the way they did last week, even with a possible decline in performance, that defense is going to clamp down on them. Even though the Niners lost that, both defenses were playing excellent last week. And if that happens again, then no, the Vikings aren't going to be able to move. You squeak by. We've all been in a packed club, and you got to turn sideways and go, excuse me, excuse me. That's how the Vikings got past the Chicago Bears. The Bears! That's how they barely got past them. So I don't think, we're going to have some halftime speech like we're watching Remember the Titans, and the damn Vikings are going to come out and play with their hair on fire. I do think that Kyle Shanahan was leaning hard on them this week at practice because you should have had that. And I would be surprised if the kicker has any behind left because Shanahan probably chewed it all off.
And I mean, listen, there's going to be tight games where your kicker's got to go out there and win. And obviously the pressure's on, and we always know that, if a coach has one timeout left, they're going to use it to try and freeze the kicker, especially if it's for the win. But to just go out there and have it all on the line and know that your team, right? This is so you stay undefeated. This is so you guys can keep that momentum without a doubt. You got to go out there and execute. And, I'm sure he learned from it. Just like you said, I'm sure the coach wrung his ear. And without a doubt, I don't think we'll see too many misses moving forward. But with that said, at the end of the day, right, these guys go out there, they're professionals, they're paid to do a job. And, when we look at everything that the 49ers have done, they should have won that game. We can definitely go back and forth about it. But at the end of the day, it was more of a, 49ers lost and a Bears won it situation. So
yeah, the Niners. I think this is also you throw in the fact that they need to get this right. They're not going to be um, they're not going to be 5-2. The team's too good for that. This will be a bounce back game. Yes, it's at home, but apparently, based on the record that you read, that doesn't mean anything to the Vikings. So who knows? This could be Levi Stadium Midwest. We've already taken over SoFi Stadium. This could be we've taken over the Cowboy Stadium. This could be a sea of red with a little bit of purple out there. We'll see.
yeah,
But the 49ers are ready. Brock Purdy. I mean, how can people be calling him a system quarterback and look at the way he played? That was his first loss in forever. That was his first pick of the year. I'm sure a lot of the people in this comment section would give their right pinky to have a quarterback that only has one pick on the year. All right. So Brock Purdy's doing fine. And he did lead a game-winning drive at the end of that game. But him putting away the Vikings, and I'm sure he doesn't see it this way. He seems to be pretty level-headed. He seems to stay out of the fray, pretty well as far as what people are talking about. But him going on the road and winning against the Vikings, I think, will quiet a lot of the haters from the loss last week. Like, oh, he's still Brock Purdy. He's still got it. Don't worry. Everything's going to be fine.
yeah. Well, I mean, So before I get into that, Christopher said stats are Browns have the worst QBR in the league and still let me just bring that back on the screen. In the league and still 4-2. We have to make a move. What do you think? I still think that Deshaun is the man for the job. I do. You know, with the injury and all that kind of stuff, PJ Walker. I mean, what do you really expect from him? Not too much. But with that said, I still think that this is Deshaun's team. I think the offense has not only been built around him, but it is a working offense, which people haven't realized that we don't like to talk about the Browns because they're the Browns, right? But when we do talk about the Browns, it's always about their defense, and people have really been sleeping on the defense specifically. And guess what? As they say, the saying goes, defense wins championships. So, if you have a defense that can just basically keep you in it close enough to where, it's a 3 point game or it's a, touchdown, one score game, then, I think Deshaun Watson's going to be able to win those games and potentially move on. Do I see them getting to the playoffs and advancing further from there? I don't think so. The thing about having a defense that's playing hard now and starting off great now is you're going to get tired by the end of the season. So at that point, do I think they're going to have the gas left? No. And that's kind of, I want to say, the situation with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are in the same situation, except, they probably have a better offense than the Browns, obviously, with Dak and company. So the Cowboys defense will start to slack off eventually, but that offense is what's supposed to basically help them get across that, that river, if you will. And but yeah, I think you guys should stick with Deshaun. I think he'll work out. Just got to get through the tough weeks. That's all.
And he plays pretty recklessly. I mean, as far as his physical safety, not that he's inaccurate or anything like that, but he runs a lot. He does a lot of crazy, acrobatic type stuff. So, is that sustainable? I don't know.
Well, that's always a question, right? If you're doing something good for any length of time, can you keep it up? Sabrina says, Jay, we as the Giants did keep the lead. That's been the question. Can you keep the lead once you get it? You guys have had the lead plenty of times, and then finally, you guys get the W. So, what does that say about the Commanders, right? What does that say about the
Mm,
Commanders and this new ownership and this new team? Uh, Once again, I think this is another squad that's developing. I think they're going to have to figure out some things as far as with their defense. But I like the running game. I like Robinson. I like Howe. I like what they're doing. But is it enough? Right? That's always going to be the question. Is it enough? And is it going to make sense for them as a franchise moving forward? To me, it's a new team. They're still a baby, right? They got to go out there and develop just like everybody else. But I would say they're under the pressure of being that new squad and trying to figure things out. And I could definitely see them getting a few more wins in this season, but it's going to be a while before they're a true contender, to be honest.
mm.
And as far as the Giants, I mean, I think Tyrod Taylor might be your guy. Leave Daniel Jones out of there and just put Tyrod in, and then figure out next year because Danny Dimes is not it. Danny Dimes is not him. So there you go.
Poor
There you go.
Giants. Their fan base in Washington, I'll call them that. Um, Man, their fan base. I mean, you're staring at another rebuild. Let's turn it around year, and we're
Yeah.
only in week 7. Damn, but I've been there. The Niners weren't this as good as they have been in the recent past.
Yeah.
Forever. So I get it. I'm right there with you, but we are doing good right now. So I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
No, I mean, and here's the thing. I know people sometimes hate my takes, and that's fine. That's fine. Um, you guys always state your opinions as well. Uh, my predictions have since the start of the season been the Bills and the 49ers. And obviously the Bills aren't doing too great right now, and that's a whole nother topic. I mean, we can literally talk for the next 20 minutes about it. But I want to
Yep.
keep it short about the Bills because I don't want to get into it. Shout out to you, Jasike. What up, man? We'll get into score predictions in a minute. But as far as the Bills go, I was actually having this conversation. Um, and from what I'm seeing, they've crippled Josh Allen, right? They've stopped him from running. And that's basically part of the reason why his completion percentage is so high, right? I brought up the fact that he had the highest completion percentage in the NFL. You guys seen that stat. You know that stat. Has that translated to wins? Some, right? And others no. So we're looking at, okay, you guys abandoned the run for Josh Allen, and now he has a higher completion percentage. We already knew that Josh could throw. That wasn't the problem, right? So you guys take away the run to prove that he can throw, but you take away the strongest part of him, which is his run, his ability to say, okay, it's 3rd and 8. I can go out here and run for those 8 yards and pick up the first down. How many times did we see Josh Allen in these situations on with the Patriots where he had basically an open lane to run and he decided to sit back there and pass the ball? And it's ridiculous because I know, just like you guys know, that he would have ran for it, got the first down, probably hurdled over somebody, and there you go. There you go. Shout out to Myrtle says, Jay, your takes are dope, except for the paper lions. Sir, you were not saying that up
Yeah.
until they took that loss. I needed you here for each week to say that. But we'll give you a pass. We'll give you a pass, sir. We'll give you a pass. Jessica says because he was so reckless when he ran. So then let's develop, right? Let's develop the run better. Let's not take it away and abandon it. Let's develop his slide game, right? Let's make sure that he's keeping himself safe while he's getting these runs. Because if you look at the actually, you know what? I'll just pull it up. I'll do it. I'll pull it up so you guys will see exactly what I'm saying while we have time before we get to the score predictions. Let me go to the stats and let's pull this up. Get it up on the board. All right, here we go. So as for Allen on the rushing, look at this. 5.1. 29 carries, 148 yards, 5.1. And his long was 23. Right? Now if we go back to actually, yeah, so this is for right now. This is right now. He's at 5.1, right? Let's go back to last year. 5.1 for his average. Last year, let's see here. Where's it at now? Hold on. That's the postseason. There we go. Regular season. All right, here we go. Allen on the rushing. 6.1, right? So because we decided to abandon the run, we've not only dropped the amount of yards that we've gained and the first downs that we could be getting, uh, you drop the average, you take away his ability to get the first down, we start having to punt, and that's why we're like, well, what's going on now? Why are we in these situations to where we keep punting back to the opposing team? Well, this is why. You take away the run, you abandon it, you force him to pass, and you don't have Josh Allen playing his game. So there you go.
Well, do you think this could be like a longevity play by the Bills? Because running quarterbacks, they don't have a long shelf life in the NFL. So maybe it's kind of this is for your own good, kid.
So I agree with that sentiment, right? Like I get it, and I can understand why they want to protect their star quarterback who they're paying a quarter of $1 billion to. But at the end of the day, right? You got to basically make up for that somewhere. Now, you guys try to create a run game, which I mean, Cook he's starting to break out, right? Murray, I like how they have that. Okay, Murray comes in to get that hard 4 3 4 yard gain, and then Cook gets the nice burst and breaks for those big plays. But I feel like Allen's left out, right? He's trying to figure out his game plan, and that's going to be the biggest issue. Him figuring out whether or not the offense is working for him and how he fits in there as far as a run. So yeah, does it make sense right now? No. Could it make sense later? I'm not sure, but I don't want it to become something that we're now on week 17 and we're like, man, we're really terrible because we decided to abandon the run, right? Now, obviously, I could be talking in a different tone come week 18 or week 17, and I'm like, well, I guess it works. They knew something that we didn't because the Bills just decide to go on this run, where they win 6 games in a row and then go
Mhm.
into the playoffs. Um, it's something that we'll have to see. Right now, it's not making sense. I am calling for Ken Dorsey's head. I'm just being honest.
Dang.
I'm just being honest. Mason says, is Debo playing? He is not.
Nope.
He will be out. He'll be out for the
For what, this week, next week, and then we have the bye. So he's going to get like 3 weeks off, 3, 4 weeks off.
yeah.
So yeah, we won't have Debo back for a minute. But hey, I'd rather rip that Band-Aid off now in October
Mhm.
and have him, at or close to 100% come playoff time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think one big thing too is, people don't realize a lot of these players, they want to get out there, right? They want to get out there. They want to play, play the game. They want to contribute. Not everybody just wants to sit on a bench and collect a check, right? So some of these guys will go out there early, right? Whether they hurt their ankle or hurt their wrist or their shoulder or whatever, get out there, still ball, rack up the yards. Because listen, at the end of the day, some of these guys, they have accolades that they have to get as well. They have different missing out the word here, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. Like there's different things or milestones. There it is. Different milestones that they have to hit throughout the season. So yeah, they'll try and hurry up and get that clearance that they need to get back out there when they really shouldn't.
mhm.
So yeah, let those guys rest, make them sit down, and create a game plan that's going to help your team win without them while they rest, so you can utilize these guys when you need them the most, in the games that matter.
Yeah. Well, like you said, man, maybe later in the year, you'll look back at this like, hey, man, they knew something I didn't, preserving him, to a certain extent. But yeah, Debo getting these few weeks off, that's great. Hopefully, this will be the only break he needs for the entire year because, as we all know, Niner fan or not, when Debo's on, it's probably going to be a dub for the Niners.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt. So yeah, let's get into score predictions. Get into score predictions. Um, so if I go by the stats, like I said, you guys know I'm a stats man. I'm a stats man. Let me just pull it back up here. Try to just back out. Oh, there it is. All right. Back to the stats. And so obviously the 49ers are favored by 7. Looking at the last 5. So the scores were 19-17, 42-10, 35-16, 30-12, 30-23. Um,
Mm,
I don't think that the 49ers are going to put up more than 30 points tonight. If they do, it'll probably be exactly 30 or just right under it. But on the flip side, Vikings, right? 19, 20, 21, 24, 28. It could be very close and then come down to a field goal. So I'm just going to have to go on the whim here and take the 49ers. I'll say 30-27.
that's a real close one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to
Huh.
30-27 49ers.
I don't know. Looking at those scores, the Niners scoring 30 points or more in every game. Had some things gone differently. They didn't, but had some things gone differently in the Browns game. The Niners could have hit that 30-point mark again. I think Ayuk bounces back. I think McCaffrey, he bounces back. He feels a little bit bad for missing part of the Browns game. Purdy, he has some redemption that he needs as well.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who's replacing Trent Williams is good. He's been around for a while. He's got some good reps. So yeah, Jake, the tribal chief, you took the score right out of my mouth. I think Niners 35-17. I think the Niners make short work of Kirk Cousins and company. I think when Purdy is throwing the ball where he needs to be, like he has been the whole season,
Mm-hmm.
and when Ayuk is doing what he has to do because Debo's not there, so Ayuk has to step up and be a true number one. Don't forget third and Jennings. Um, oh
Yep.
man, this team still has enough parts. The defense is pretty much intact, so they're going to put the vice grip, the chokehold on the Vikings because they're pissed about that loss last week too, and they're going to show that every team is going to have a real problem facing that defense every single game, whether it be the Browns or better competition. Look what they did to the Cowboys. They were supposed to be something with Dak and Hollywood Brown or whoever, what's his name, CeeDee Lamb,
Yeah.
whoever the hell they have. They were supposed to, be this buzzsaw that they were going to show the Niners what's up. They were going to be the first team to take down the mighty gold miners. And that didn't happen. It was quite the opposite. So the Niners returned to form. They beat the brakes off of the Vikings. Oh, bummer.
Shout out to you, Furious Storm, coming through with the $2 super chat. Says Debo's grandma stole his chain.
My
49ers
grandma gave me that chain.
35-21. My grandmama gave me that chain. All right. Yeah, I mean, so Jasike made a good valid point. He said 27 with that offense. So here's the thing. I consider, and I say this loosely, don't beat me up about it, but I say this loosely. I consider the 49ers and the Eagles to almost be like the same team right now, right? With the injuries specifically. And I look at what the Vikings did against, the Eagles, it was 34-28. So, if they're able to put up 28 points against the Eagles, it's quite possible that right now, like I said, with the injuries and just the way that things are going for the 49ers, I do think that the Vikings at home can put up 27 points. So there you go.
All right.
Uh, so sub J early stream, nice. Shout out to you. Pregame, little pregame for you guys. Robert says 31-21 49ers.
Yes.
Xavier says 28-13 49ers. Okay.
Got a lot of smart people in here.
Titans traded all pro running back Kevin Barrett to the Eagles and in return received a 2024 fifth and sixth round pick. Okay.
He's a DB.
Yeah, DB, that's right. DB. Yeah. Defensive back.
Hey, fortify that defense even better. The Niners got some moves. They're looking at the people in the know were looking at it was a cornerback from, is it the Panthers? Chin is his name.
Yeah. Yep.
So, if the Niners can do that, then that's, both. That's like, the two Titans adding another piece if the Niners can seal that deal too, because they're definitely going to want to do something to keep up with the Eagles because those are the two best teams in the NFC, and they'll probably end up with round two of last year's NFC Championship game.
I agree. Quick shout out to Immortal. Says who gets more receiving yards tonight, Kittle or Hawkinson? Well, you know what? Let's bring it back to the stats. Let's look at Kittle. Let me pull up the depth chart.
Not the best year for Kittle.
Yeah,
stat-wise.
that's why I'm actually gonna go to Mr. Kittle so we can look at what he's doing versus Hawkinson. So, on the receiving side of things, he averaged 22 against Dallas, 9, 12, 10, 30 yards, 90, 9 yards, 67, and 1 against Cleveland. So, once again, right, we look at who they're playing against and his production. It looks like when it's, a team that they're not taking too serious, Kittle's really not as productive. But when there's a name on the line, he's getting at least, if I were to average these, I'd say at least 45, 50 yards for Kittle. And then if we do Hawkinson, let's see here. 66, 78, 24, 51, 50. So, he's right around the same realm. Right around it. So that's going to be a coin flip for me. But, if I have to choose, I probably have to say Hawkinson tonight. I think he'll probably get more yards than Kittle.
Well, Kittle can go off at any moment. You look at that 3 touchdown game that he had He was laying dormant before that, maybe even a little bit after that.
Mhm.
But Kittle can go off at any moment, and it all depends on the matchup. That Hawkinson, I think he has a much more formidable defense to deal with, especially if he's over the middle with whoever, whether it be Greenlaw, whoever's replacing him. I can't believe 48, who replaced him last week, and of course Fred Warner, who is a tall dude, maybe not as
Yeah.
tall as your average tight end, but at 6'3", he can definitely keep up with a linebacker. So it depends on that matchup, on that front. Then I got to take Kittle all day long. Kittle can go off, and I think if they have to lean on him, if another part of the offense isn't working right, dude, they can
Mhm.
activate Kittle. He can do his thing. He can get wide open. Look at the Seahawks game last year. He had 2 touchdowns in that game. So, you know, I think when they need to activate him. Plus, he's mad that he missed National Tight Ends Day.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He did. Before we wrap this up, it's funny because I was actually looking at this parlay, and on National Tight End Day there was a guy. He had a parlay of, I think it was Mark Andrews anytime touchdown. Um, who else did he have? My goodness, he had Mark Andrews. He had Travis Kelsey, and he had one more, but it was three. And then he had a 50% bonus increase for his parlay. He turned $20 into like 850.
Mm,
And
yeah,
it's funny how things work out. When you pay attention to those kind of situations, or it's like somebody's birthday, or it's National Tight Ends Day, or you look at certain things and certain weird kind of you know little stuff that people don't really pay attention to, and these people go off on these days, and
yeah.
someone always knows somewhere what's going to happen because of these little days and little hints, as I call them. And yeah, so there you go.
I call it the new shoe theory. When you were a kid and you put on a pair of new shoes, you just ran faster, you jumped higher. If there's something in the air for Kittle, if he's feeling a certain way, it could just that's just the way it is. If the planets
Yeah.
align for him that way. So I think, and definitely with the offensive lineup being a little diminished, they're going to need those stars who are still there to do their thing and activate.
Mhm. Robert says, answer me this panel. Who gets Dalvin Cook at the deadline? The Browns in place of Chubb, or the Rams and some rumors the Cowboys who? You know, um, I still think the Cowboys are probably solid. You know, the Rams, they're in a tricky spot. They definitely need, to work on the run game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think the Browns, right, could definitely pick him up. I think that could possibly work out. I think they need him the most out of all of them. And it's sad what happened to Chubb. Obviously, if you don't know what happened in
Yeah,
college, the same thing happened in the NFL. And these are the kind of things that, that's why the running backs have such a short life cycle in the NFL, is because, these guys get beat up. They're super injury prone, and they average what, anywhere between 4 to 5 years. I mean, that's a really, really good running back if you can get them to last more than that time. It's very rare that you have someone like a Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. I mean, you could say he gets injured a lot, but it is what it is. But these guys have been in the league for a while, and it's very rare. So you have a situation with Nick Chubb, and then he goes out. So who do you pick up? The funny thing to me, as far as, before we get out of here, but the funny thing to me as far as the running back situation is, how New England decided to pick up Zeke. It was a very weird pickup that I don't think anybody expected, because I felt like, New England needed wide receivers. But hey, that's Bill Belichick being the mad scientist he is, and we finally seen Zeke out there actually balling again, and
yeah.
taking care of business.
He looked a little faster yesterday. I was like, well, wait a minute. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I was like Zeke Elliott. That's right.
he can actually run.
Yeah, they did pick him up. No, he
Yeah.
looked good yesterday, man. Even though it was a weird Sunday in football. A lot of
Mhm.
things happened that shouldn't have, and the Bills versus the Patriots was probably at the top of the list. But I don't know. I think the weird things are done happening. Will stay in yesterday, and today is a new day. And the 49ers are going to do their thing.
Yeah.
Beat the brakes off the Vikings. Yeah,
We'll
it's
see,
gonna,
sir. We'll see.
I think they will. There's nothing. I mean, even if you keep last week in the equation, I've seen nothing else from them that says that they won't beat the brakes off of the Vikings. The Vikings aren't world beaters, offense or defense. And there was talk as recent as yesterday that Jefferson might not play, so he's not at 100%. So I fear no Vikings. I see no reason why the Niners won't continue on their 30 plus points per game. I mean, why not?
Well, there's any given Sunday, and then there's Monday Night Football, prime time,
Right?
49ers, Vikings.
Niners do well on Monday night.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. We
Yeah,
got
they sure will. I'm
about an
excited.
hour until kickoff. I want to give a big shout out to my man JG for coming through, chopping it up, Mr. 49er fan himself,
Yes.
Mr. American. And yeah, make sure you guys hit that like, that thumbs up, of course. Subscribe over here, subscribe to him as well. And we'll see you guys in about an hour. Kickoff for Monday Night Football.
I'll be there, man. I'll be right there with you. I'll be chiming in. See you there, Bob Evans.
All right, you guys. Peace out. We'll see you later.